How did William Samoei Arap Ruto manage to outwit a combined force of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who was by that time a sitting president, and Raila Amolo Odinga, an enigma of Kenyan politics? How did he do it? The answer to that is very simple: proper planning. William Ruto planned so well, properly, from point A to point Z. He knew what he wanted to achieve at each and every given point. And by the time Uhuru and Raila blinked their eyes, William Ruto was already seated at State House. Whether he rigged or not, the truth is he outwitted them. But Kenya Kwanza, as we speak in this country today, has become so unpopular, and it's one of the easiest regimes in the world to remove based on their performance and based on the promises which they made to their voters. But can Azimio manage to remove them in 2027? That is the question which I want us to look at here. Because for me, if you ask me, William Ruto is already planning. And Kenya Kwanza are already laying an elaborate strategy for 2027. But what about Azimio? If you ask me, Azimio are still sleeping on the job. So in this video, I want us to look at why personally I strongly believe that Kenya Kwanza are ahead of Azimio as far as 2027 elections are concerned. Before we do that, in case you are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And without any further ado, let us dive in. And I want to go straight to the point. Why do I strongly believe that Kenya Kwanza are already laying an elaborate strategy for 2027 general election, while Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Azimio are still sleeping on the job? Let us begin by looking at the first strategy which Kenya Kwanza are embarking on: massive recruitment drive. According to their schemes of things, UDA as a political party, which is the dominant party in Kenya Kwanza, is planning to recruit 15 million Kenyans into that particular party. And they're already doing it. As Raila Odinga and Azimio and the rest are on the street there doing their things, Cleophas Malala, who is the Secretary General of UDA, is outside there trying to recruit members into the party. And by targeting 15 million, what they are trying to do is that they want to have a database, a proper database where they can have what they are calling the so-called members. Because if you look at the last election, William Ruto was declared the president by 7.2 million votes. Raila Odinga had 6.9, a difference of 200,000, 7.1 and 6.9, a difference of 200,000 votes. So what they want now is to create a perception that they have the numbers. And their recruitment strategy is well schemed and targeted. They are targeting areas where they performed almost at par with Azimio, and also targeting Raila Odinga's stronghold. For example, they were in Isiolo the other day, and they've been embarking on a serious recruitment drive in Homa Bay. The idea behind William Ruto trying to camp in Homa Bay, Kisumu, Migori, and Siaya is simple. There's a strong feeling in Kenya Kwanza that Raila Odinga might not be a presidential candidate. And in case Raila Odinga will not be a presidential candidate, then it means they can compete with Kalonzo or whoever Azimio will front. So that's why they're embarking on those recruitment drive. And for you to understand their seriousness, just pay very close attention to what happened in Isiolo and also in Homa Bay before we proceed.
I will not speak until they keep quiet.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Hebu tulieni kidogo, tulia. Chalisa man. Akna mufimbene datem. Tulia tafadhali, tulia. UDA!
Jameni, tupatie Rehema nafasi aongee. Wajeni aongee kitu anataka kuongea.
Tunataka tupatie mama dakika 2 amalize. Haya. Tunataka tumpatie dakika 1 sasa.
Haya basi, kila mtu akae chini. Kaa chini. To relax. Mheshimiwa, have my seat. Ndakuita. I'm calling you please. I'm calling you. Haya, tutulie. Haya, Isiolo oye. Mimi ningependa kuomba. Nataka tutulie. Nataka kila kiongozi apewe nafasi yake ajieleze vizuri. Hii chama ni chama yetu sisi wote, si ndio? Mimi ningependa kuomba kwamba Mheshimiwa Jeldesa ataongea, kwa sababu wakati huu watu wako na hasira kidogo. Tumpatie dakika 5, watu wengine waendelee kuongea, yeye atakuja baadaye. Kwa sasa hivi tukaribishe. Hapana kidogo tu, hapana gavana. You'll come. Tulikuwa nataka mtu mmoja mwingine.
Kwa majina najulikana kama Kevin Oumo Dhiambo. Jina ya siasa ni Wawau. Mimi ndio kiongozi ya vijana hapa Homa Bay County kwa UDA party. Tulikuwa hapa Ndhiwa sub county kwa maneno za uchaguzi na tena tumemaliza vizuri. Tumepata uongozi wa UDA party hapa Ndhiwa. Inatuhakikishia ati sasa mwenendo imeanza. Na tena tutapata watu hapa Ndhiwa, tuko na chama, watu wa chama na viongozi wake sasa wako hapa Ndhiwa. Tunataka kutembea kwa amani, tutaki vita na watu wa ODM. Wakati wako kwa mkutano wao tutawapata, tutafikia mkutano wao. Na wakati mkutano yetu inafanyika, nao pia wao watupatie nafasi ya kufanya mkutano yetu. Hiyo tu.
We are here for a reason. Our reason for what we are doing is to ensure that we have the youth structure across the county, and at the same time to ensure that we bring the numbers in the party. Our main goal is just to ensure that we have the numbers and nothing apart from having the numbers.
Number 2, as we speak, Kenya Kwanza as a coalition has already settled the issue of their presidential candidate, William Ruto. And to some extent, they are also concluding the issue of the running mate, whom I think is still going to be Rigathi Gachagua, despite the fact that William Ruto is trying to show the Western Kenya that is going to be with Kalonzo. And for Azimio, who is their presidential candidate? Let me know. Do you support Kalonzo Musyoka? Can Kalonzo Musyoka defeat Ruto? Do you support Raila Odinga? Can Raila Odinga make a difference? Who is Azimio presidential candidate? And what is their lineup? Who is going to be their running mate? Is that running mate going to be Eugene Wamalwa? Or is that candidate going to be Martha Karua, Hassan Joho? Is that candidate going to be Oparanya? So from Azimio side, they are yet to settle on their lineup. And for me, if Azimio wants Kenyans to take them seriously, they must identify their lineup early enough so that they can campaign for that candidate. They can identify the weaknesses. If they don't do that, Kenya Kwanza will still have advantage over them. They'll be able to map out the regions, like what they are now trying to do, focusing on Isiolo, focusing on northern Kenya by appointing by appointing Duale to the Ministry of Defense, opening the borders to allow the Somalis to actually register and vote. You know, all those are geared towards a particular objectives. And then you also talk of zoning. They'll be able to zone, like now the mountain. You see what they're doing with Rigathi Gachagua. They don't want Rigathi Gachagua to go outside the country. They don't want Rigathi Gachagua to focus outside Mount Kenya. He's only focusing on Mount Kenya. Why? Because they still need the politics of Mount Kenya as part of their strategy. And it also helps them, it will also help them by identifying the candidates early enough, will also help them deal with any unexpected outcome. For example, if there's someone is going to feel angry, you know. So for me, Kenya Kwanza has a lineup, and that gives them an edge. Let us look at number 3, which also I think is also very important. Kenya Kwanza has a clear communication strategy. Azimio probably does not have a communication strategy. I'm saying this because Kenya Kwanza has done very bad things in this country. They've committed so many political mistakes. They've made promises which they are yet to fulfill. There are so many things which you can talk about in Kenya Kwanza. But as things stand today, nothing is happening. They are very unpopular, right? But what is the alternative? For example, when you talk of this unpopular finance bill, can you tell us Azimio's strategy of dealing with it? Zero. The other day you saw Mama Mboga coming out. The media went and fished her out and she complained. Kenya Kwanza rushed to her and offered a counter narrative. Were it not for the media, Azimio could not have managed that. So many bad things are happening. William Ruto has committed, I don't know. Take for example, this is William Ruto speaking about the cost of subsidy. And again, he's talking about the dollar. He made promises. Nobody is talking about them.
In fact, in the next 1 month or so, you will see dollars coming down, the exchange rate coming down in a very phenomenal way. In fact, in my estimation, in the next couple of months, the exchange rate will come below 120 shillings. Maybe 115, you never know.
So those who have been holding dollars everywhere, hoping that it will continue going up, it will go down, starting today, tomorrow, the day after. So if you have a few dollars that you are still holding, please let them go to the market and you'll come to thank me for it after a week or two.
Mimi nimesikia mumesema bado. Mimi nataka niwaambie hivi. Hii bei ilikuwa 230. Si ni kweli? Saa hizi ukienda kwa shelf, na mimi nataka niwaambie, endeni hapa Quickmart ama uende Naivas, utakuta iko ya shilingi 200, iko ya shilingi 180, iko ya shilingi 170, iko ya shilingi 158. Wewe ndio utaamua utanunua gani. Kama unataka kununua ya 200, ununue ya 200. Kama unataka kununua ya 158, nunua ya 158. Hiyo ni uamuzi yako. Tunaelewana? Si dunia hii ni demokrasia? Si unafanya ile unajua unataka kufanya? Na mimi nitaendelea kukaza kamba. Bado kuna millers wanatufanyia ukora. Lakini mimi nitapambana na wao mpaka tuhakikishe ya kwamba every citizen has a right to access food that is quality, that is enough for their families.
And of course, they're also trying so hard to win Azimio allied bloggers to their side. They have dished out money to so many. If you go to Twitter, I know several individuals who have now been bought and are working for Kenya Kwanza. They were previously in Azimio. So they identified that Azimio having these guys was affecting them in a way. So they decided, let us go and raid Azimio bloggers. So they've raided some of those Azimio bloggers. And number 4, this bipartisan talks, in my view, is also a clever strategy by William Ruto to tame Azimio. The truth of the matter is that before the bipartisan talks, Raila Odinga had embarked on massive demonstrations across the country. And those demonstrations were actually putting Kenya Kwanza in an awkward situation. They were making the country ungovernable. William Ruto was unable to do whatever he would have wanted to do. And Azimio supporters, those who support Raila Odinga, were actually for those mandamanos. Then from nowhere, Raila Odinga called the mandamanos off. Then he tried calling them again. The Kenya Kwanza was able to give in to their demands, so they didn't proceed up to this stage. And Raila Odinga is telling Kenyans that, okay, if the finance bill will pass, we are going to have mandamanos. But Kenyans are no longer really excited. Why? Because William Ruto wanted to tame Azimio. As that was happening, the discussions has now shifted from whatever, the IBC, and we're now talking the cost of living, we're now talking the finance bill. And Azimio's call for demonstrations now is about the finance bill, which means a critical election issue as the constitution of IBC, the servers are being swept under the carpet. So for me, if you ask me, it is a strategy, and William Ruto is scoring there. Raila Odinga must focus. He must identify issues. You can't fight for everything. Raila Odinga must just identify specific issues and deal with those specific issues. If it's the issues of IBC, he must put his foot forward and stick with it. That on the issue of IBC, we are not going to negotiate. Because, you know, if you talk to any Kenya Kwanza currently, and even you, if I talk to you, even if you are Azimio, the thinking in Kenya Kwanza is that if William Ruto could win the presidency, could be declared the president of the Republic of Kenya as an outsider. Now he has Duale in the Ministry of Defense. He has Kindiki in the Ministry of Interior. He has Eli Dewalo in the Ministry of ICT. He has Foreign Affairs, Alfred Mutua. He has the police. He has everything. What will stop him from rigging? You know, if he was able to rig from outside, he now has everything. What will stop him? It's only the people's power. And that's what William Ruto does not want. He doesn't want the power of the people to be felt. So he's willing to manage the Azimio through these bipartisan talks. So if I were Raila Odinga, I'd forget about that bipartisan shenanigans, focus on the main issue, how to win 2027 election for me. And again, look at the unfulfilled promises which he made to Kenyans. Why do you think Azimio is not highlighting all those? Who is benefiting if Azimio is silent on them? And do you think no member of parliament from Azimio can talk about those unfulfilled promises? No. Why? Because William Ruto has a strategy with members of parliament. Normally, Kenyans tend to listen more to elected leaders, MPs, senators, governors, MCS. All these MPs you see, even those who are not public supporting Ruto, they are under William Ruto's pocket. William Ruto has actually bought the entire house. So nobody is willing to talk about, to remind, because what Raila Odinga needs, if you were to ask me, he needs something which I think the only group who are doing it are the Bunge la Wananchi, the Omosh 1 hour, the Nuru Okangas of this world, the Gauchos, you know, the guys at Jacaranda, people who are talking about these unfulfilled promises, what Ruto promised Kenyans and is yet to do for them. So for me, if you ask me, Azimio is still sleeping on the job. And before they realize, William Ruto will be at State House in 2027 before they know. So the only solution for them is to identify a candidate. Azimio needs to identify a candidate. They need to point out William Ruto's weaknesses, because William Ruto would always lie, for example, on the cost of unga. He's lying already. Cost of unga is 200 and something. He's lying about it. He made promises he can't fulfill. So they must have a strategy of appealing to the emotions of Kenyans so that Kenyans can feel that they were actually lied to. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do right now. And thank you. May you have a good day. Bye-bye.